Over there.
Who?
Gus, my son was over there bouncing.
Well, Dimitri was doing it for a while.
He did it over briefly.
Oh, okay.
Peggy has a problem.
I'm going.
Cool.
I started at TI about 10.
Ready when you are, sir.
Ready?
129 p.m. So, that's going to be in the board of adjustment field. Maybe, right there. First item is public hearing. This is, there'll be no back and forth. On the feet. We have it for 3 minutes. Red square 23 there. 203. After the question is due, the fire department has got 12. Property location 419. Identify yourself.
Well, let me just so you have the, sorry to interrupt. So in a public comment, it's just one way. They can't ask any questions back and forth. If I think with the chairman's permission, you'll have an opportunity to really get to the item and then you guys can have a discussion. Just, it's up to you
That
that.
pull it right down.
It's up to you. That way they can ask questions. And so if you want to
Okay,
wait till I
gotcha.
get to the agenda item, then you'll have to be able to go back and forth. So,
Okay, so I have put in for this variance request. My home was built in 1991 with all vacant lots around me. I bought it in 2009. Since then, many homes have gone up around me, changing the view from every angle of the home. And I welcome the neighbors and welcome the development. But at this point, I'd like to add this deck so that I can enjoy my home. By modifying rather than just being upset how their homes have gone up around. So I'm hoping to be able to add this outdoor space so that I can sit outside and enjoy my home.
Okay.
That's
All right, thank you. I understand that the next one on the beach lodge has been full.
that's
Do
correct.
you want to tell us something about it?
I would ask that you go ahead and hang on to the materials. At the end of the meeting, we'll probably poll the commission and see about another meeting in fairly short order, probably 3 weeks. Check everybody's schedule. Just some legal maneuvering going on right now with our city attorney and the people that were the various applicants. Their attorney asked for what we would call a continuance in legal terms, and Mike agreed to do that as they try to work through maybe a less paperwork intensive solution. So if that happens, it may not come back at all, but I would ask you to keep the materials. Mike did say that contrary to what he said before, said it was fine to give you the packages. I think he was probably going to advise that it really wasn't a variance in the traditional sense. He would have made legal arguments that if their opportunity for a variance had passed, if it wasn't right. But all that's legal mumbo jumbo that's kind of beyond my pay grade. So at this point, they're the attorneys are negotiating, and like I said, I won't promise it won't come back. We'd like to set a next date for this one item, and if they resolve it, then of course we'll cancel that scheduled meeting. So. And I don't want to go into too much detail at this point. It may be a moot point if they negotiate a settlement, but I think the information you have kind of speaks pretty much to the issue and what my concern is. So.
All right. So I want to close the public hearing. Next item is citizens comment reports. Everybody. Okay, next item. Item for consideration. First item is discussion and take appropriate action of minutes October 25th, 2022. Board of Adjustment. Everybody after had a chance to look at the minutes. There any additions, corrections?
I've got it. I was here. You were, came late and you were not there for the voting of the minutes.
Okay,
You were there for the other one. It shows the vote on the other one, correct?
well, this one.
That's the minute.
One of them. Okay.
What happened was you were coming down through 61. We were waiting on you. So Glenn did the second item first.
Okay.
We voted on it because when I went to print these out, I went back and double checked.
Right. Okay,
Yep.
great. All right, thanks. I'm sure we get it.
All right. Any other? Entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a bunch of it.
A motion, is there a second? Second. All. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, next one is the beach launch. If you want to talk to them, that all you,
Yeah, I mean, that's all really all we need to say at this point.
next one, Terry take action to variance request 23-000694. Applicant is requesting to reduce required front setback 12 feet. Question family. This location. Property location 419 East.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Let me just say, Nicole and I kind of talked about it, and for the agenda, we really felt we needed to keep the same language as as we posted in the paper for the public hearing. But as we've looked at the request, it really was a little bit different and it may be semantics, but I think it's important to note that it's the effect does impact the setback, but it's actually a request to allow the penetration that we allow into the setback for a deck to be a little bit greater. So in other words, we allow certain things by ordinance to extend into the setback: decks, balconies, cornices, chimneys. There's a list of things. Okay. Anyway, so, and that's why when you look at the actual application request itself, that's really what the request is that we allow a slightly greater penetration than would otherwise be allowed. 50% of 20 feet would be 4 feet. I think they needed a little bit more. The house itself is pushed forward because it would build.
How much percent?
I'm sorry, 25% into the front setback.
Okay.
25% into the front and rear, 50% into the side. So 25% into the front, 25 with the 20 4 feet. And that's, Nicole's pointing out, it is a cantilevered balcony, and we know that.
If you look at page 40, under the address, it does say applicant is requesting.
An increase in the percentage that a cantilever balcony can extend into the front setback from 25% ends up being about 40% from 5 feet to 8 feet. But I think the applicant wants to address that because, again, if we were talking about the ordinance and the process, I did explain that it is prudent and the ordinance requires that you ask for the least amount necessary to achieve what you're looking to achieve. And I think you want, now's probably a good time with the chairman's permission to kind of say that. So again, because that will change the nature of the ask.
Between the time I turned in the variance request and today, I have met with an engineer and my carpenter, and we decided that a 5-foot deck would give me ample space to enjoy the space. And that modifies the variance request from 3 feet to 1 foot. So it's reducing it by 2/3. My
So
request has been
basically, you're
so
requesting to carry over into the setback 1 more foot.
1 more foot. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, normally a cantilever balcony is allowed to extend 5 feet past the setback line.
Right.
She's just asking for 6 feet past that setback line.
The
rather than
deck
just
it-
the 5.
Yeah, the deck itself will only get to be 5 feet if I'm allowed to do this, because the first floor of my home is on the 20-foot build line. My second floor hangs over by 1 foot. So it's already a foot into that 25% that is allowable through ordinance right now. So right now by city ordinance, I could build a 4-foot deck. But that one additional foot opens up that space for a table, to be able to sit out in front of my home. My front door is built on the side of the house, and there has been a house that has gone up. And so now my deck that used to be quite enjoyable from my front door is now just blocked 100% by a wall of siding. Their home is gorgeous on the other 3 sides.
I can relate.
So I walk out my front door and my deck ends right outside my front door. And that's all I have is a 3-story wall of siding.
Your front door upstairs.
It's upstairs. And so what I want to do is to be able to add another L onto my deck, wrap the front of the home, be able to walk out my front door, take a left and put my table out there in this new space so that I can sit outside and enjoy seeing trees, seeing up and down the street again. And that additional foot make it more enjoyable, just more functional.
So by reducing it to that just 1 foot rather than the 3 feet, you're increasing it from a 25% allowance to a 30%. So by 5%.
Bill,
I've done this out in Paradise Point on that deck over to the limits, and 5 foot is very. You can do it, but anything less won't. I personally, I have a 7-foot deck, and that's adequate, but nothing less than 5 foot.
we're basically gonna have.
5-foot deck because the house currently extends 1 foot.
Like, I can't do it.
And so a 5-foot deck in front of that. So a 6-foot penetration into the setback rather than a 5-foot
But the
penetration.
house is already there. Yeah, there's the aerial, I'm sorry, behind you guys.
Or if
I'm
you
sorry.
go to the street view,
Yeah, see how.
here you go. We'll pull it up on
Yeah, right
the
here.
big TV. We'll pull it right behind you. Yep, so it's this house right here. You see how that second floor comes out just a tad? So that comes out a foot. So the deck would be cantilevered from there out 5 feet. So in total, it would be 6 foot from the setback line. With it's a 5 foot deck.
To make the house look nicer too.
And it'll get doors between those windows so that, you know, there'll be a door open that
All the way across.
all the way across the whole front. Yeah, it'll go all the way, it'll make an L from the original deck. It'll connect to the original deck, make an L, pardon, and then go all the way across the front. But not extend beyond the sides into impeding into my neighbors.
Laura, flip all the way around 180 degrees, facing out towards the street view. Just swivel around from there,
Like facing with your back to the house.
back to the house. Yes. Keep going. Is there a house there now?
No, that's still empty.
There's a house right next
Right
door.
next door to the house.
I only want to point out that view because when I went over there and kind of looked and normally that, you know, if there was going to be any impact to any neighbors, it would be obviously who you're pushing closer to. But that's the issue here too, which is always a better situation.
Pushing towards the street.
Correct,
Towards the street.
Not in the neighborhood.
correct. That's the point I'm trying to make.
And this is what prompted this, trying to just enjoy. That's my view now from my front door. Yeah, they have.
But now on the other side of her, she's just got a solid wall.
There's a really tall
Keep going.
piling house over there.
Yeah, so right there where those pilings are, that wall just extends straight up from her house.
When you drive down Roberts, their house is fabulous. It has decks on 3 sides. It's just not on that side. It's just truly straight.
You were just there a little before your time, I'm afraid.
No,
Okay, any other questions? Comments?
And again, we're regardless of, well, yeah, if you guys were to grant it, it's still subject to engineering.
It is.
Still gotta make sure that, you know, because it does have to be a cantilever, they should understand that. So there's some other things still at work, even if it's approved. So hoops that you'll have to jump through engineering line. Make it all work.
So the ask is if you get the 5 things in it.
I ask us for 1 extra foot, an increase from 25% allowed cantilever balcony to a 30% allowed cantilever balcony.
Okay. Further questions, comments? Trying to get our motion for it.
We have a tie.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Right.
We keep these packets. That's it.
I would like to have binders back so that we don't have to buy binders. for
Well, yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Can you leave the paperwork in there?
Yeah, just leave it all in there.
Okay.
I thought you wanted to hold on to Chuck stuff.
I can hold on to it for you unless you really want to
Carry it
take it
around
home and study it, whatever.
Can I-
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Okay.
I just, like I said, I just apologize, Michael's
Leave mine in here, throw away what, you know.
Yeah, Mike just called, to tell us what he was gonna do, which obviously we're obligated to do in our city 37. We would have given you more notice. I don't know. We still have the one, but so I truly don't know the outcome. I have not talked to Mike since it's happened, but I know they're trying to come up with a resolution that minimizes our legal fees and everything else. I think there's some acceptance on the people's part that they do in fact have responsibility and they're gonna have to deal with what they've done.
Hey, if we survive the Pink Hotel, we can survive this.
You're right.
Very true.
I was just really looking forward to this being Paul's first, it's a really good one to dig into. It'd be a good one. There's a lot of moving pieces to it, so.
Okay. You want, we want to try to set a date right now?
We can't do it any sooner than 2 weeks, but I talked to Mike. He said,
Not
3 weeks.
I'm not gonna be here. 14th through the 30th.
So the soonest we could do it is May the 31st. And that's if we put the paper on Monday. You'll mail outs as well. So I say, let's see if the 31st
And
or the
there's,
7th.
yeah, so the 31st or 7th, and there's not any dire emergency at this point. It's,
31st.
that's not going anywhere.
or 7th.
Into May or the.
I like my.
That's,
Yeah, we
yeah,
used
we're
to do
trying
it
to
on
keep it.
Wednesday.
Is there anybody,
Okay,
one day better than another?
well,
We only need,
7th, you give me. Meet now.
Yeah,
I'm
we
fine with the 7th,
Okay, I missed the thing.
and that'll give one more.
I cannot do it. again.
you guys, you guys only want to do it in the afternoon? Do we want to just schedule it in the morning?
One time.
Would that work? I have a feeling this would be the
Yeah.
only,
Glenn, what about you? Would you care if it was in the morning or afternoon?
how early, I mean, how early, Mel?
7, 8.
7 a.m.
I'm just kidding. Like 10, 7.
Seven.
Yep, at 10:30.
Great, that's a good time.
Okay.
The what day, 7th?
June the 7th.
10:30.
Now that you may change this because of.
Yes.
It might not, it might not happen at all, and hopefully that's the case, because that just means they came to an agreement and, are gonna do the absolute right thing.
10:30.
10:30. We'll send that.
Then we should probably know by sometime next week whether or not we're gonna have a meeting or not.
Really.
Really hope we do.
Well, we just have, I mean,
Oh, that's.
Just you.
you just have to send out all the notices because it gets costly.
Lord. These read it over.
Yeah, hang on to those. This is just, it, again, at a city council meeting, it was a planning and zoning variance request. David,
Glenn asked for these from the last. meeting.
oh, okay. Well, and David reiterated that for a variance, these are the elements that needed to be considered. Doesn't mean that you don't have your own interpretation as to how those, what that means. But just take those with you and take a look, because it's right straight out of the ordinance, things that it should be
We'll leave
considered.
it.
I will leave them in there forever,
Yeah, I was putting it back in place.
forever.
Until they change. We had a set a couple of years ago that I liked.
Well, and
Even good stuff.
the legislature changed some of that too, because I know you'll remember this, probably several years
Money
ago.
wasn't a factor.
Money went back to now it is. Completely did a 180 reversal on that. So,
All right.
thank everybody.
Well,
Did he
Glenn,
adjourn the meeting?
Well, if you close the meeting now.
Waiting for a fact.
Okay, all right.
Thanks.
It takes me a while to type. I don't know if we're dealing overtime. That's fine. I'm here. Okay. Anything else to do the order?
Thank you.
All right, we're adjourned.